All right, we got Trump on the screen.
Yes.
Let's watch. Let's get into one of the topics here. The Ukraine
I know we're allowed
situation.
to show porn on this stream, but this is good.
Ukraine is a crappy little country. It'd be nothing without us.
Did you see him?
We'll take your women.
You could tell tension was here the moment, that moment where Zelensky shows up and he's like, "Oh, you dressed up today."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was him shitting on him as soon as he showed up.
Well,
Yeah.
Zelensky went around and met with like other politicians before he went to the White House, right?
Of course he did.
So like,
I don't like
yeah.
him. I think he's a fake.
They say that he didn't want to sign the deal. He wanted to be invited to the White House, and he was being a pain in the butt for 2 weeks during negotiations, even before this. So I think there was a lot of buildup.
Well, he also could have just signed the deal without actually having to come over to America.
And I don't understand why you're not.
Apparently, he insisted.
Why you're not allowed to hate both him and Russia. I don't like Russia, and I don't like Ukraine either.
I'm with you there.
I don't want anything to
You know
do
what?
with any
I'm
of
on.
this shit.
I'm on a side. I'm on the side of no World War III. That's the side
Yep.
I'm on.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's how
Me
I'm
too.
feeling too.
Dude, honestly,
Yeah, I'm not
at this
dying for no
point,
country.
I would rather have peace with Russia than in Ukraine. Easily.
Yeah, obviously. For so many reasons, you would want that.
I don't want to die from nuclear holocaust.
But I
Right.
feel like
So
I
peace
feel,
with Russia then.
but I feel like Ukraine has been used as a political pawn, and you know, for the innocent Ukrainian people out there, I feel for them that their entire country is basically, to me, it feels like they're just being used.
I'm just tired of us giving him our money. That's all.
Hey, I'm okay with Europe stepping up and giving him the money, and then instead of
What's
us
funny
giving
is it's
him
a
money,
loan. Yeah.
well, yeah, it's never going to get paid back because this is how it's been going before. We would give them money, and then they would give it back to us and buy weapons from us. So what I would rather do is have Europe step up, them give him all the money, and then use their money to buy our weapons. Because we are an arms dealer.
Oh, absolutely.
100%. That's like our biggest production is weapons.
Well, after all of this just happened, our Australian Prime Minister has come out and stood next to Zelensky, who isn't even one of our
You guys
allies.
don't have a
whereas
lot of money.
America is one. Well, we just also pledged them another $1.5 billion.
And crates of Vegemite,
It's
bloomin' onions, and cases of Foster's
Not
for
tonight,
victories.
Flash.
And shrimp and barbecue.
fucking hell.
Would you like
I
Zelensky? Come
oh,
on down. We're
man.
going to have some shrimp on the barbie and a bloomin' onion.
Flash, that's not entirely
Hey,
true.
dude.
They've got knives.
We do have knives.
They've
That's
got
true.
knives. That's
Um, we need a Trump. We need Trump. We need Doge here.
Every
and
country needs a
it's
Trump.
getting scarier the more we get more into Trump's presidency. The other countries around the world it's getting scary, and it's getting scary here. To the point where, like, I really kind of want to move to America, but I think with everything going on right now, it'd be very, very hard to even get a visa to come over there to be able to do just work and shit. I don't think it'd be easy right now.
Well, hey,
You just
I
need
know.
5 million.
I have a question for you.
Well, that's
5
true.
million to get your gold card.
Hey, chat, can you help me raise $5 million?
Yeah, get that gold card, man. That's the way
Yeah.
to
So
I'll put up a
Rhino, is
GoFundMe for a gold card.
go.
I have a serious question right now. Is the whole thing with the Chinese Navy doing all that shit off Sydney, is that a big deal to you guys at all or no?
Dude, you have no idea how scary that was. I just heard about that the other day, where between New Zealand and Australia, there is one small, like, narrow gap, like it's almost a hallway of international water, and Chinese have sent a fleet of warships in there, and they're doing live fire things to the point where a commercial airlines was flying over, reported it, and that's the first our government heard about it.
Yes. And the Chinese have actually gone down through the Tasman Sea, like around the bottom of Australia, to say
it's insane.
we can do what we want.
And they own so much of our country right now. China as well.
Have,
it's
like,
so scary.
air patrols or radar. I mean, how could you not know until a commercial airline reports?
Because they're
it?
not
They're
doing all that
Australians.
stuff. They don't spend their money on that.
It's we basically we rely on America, and now we're going against America. It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous that we rely on the protection of America, right? And then when something like this happens,
Yeah, everybody does. You
our
need to give
prime
us some
minister
money.
comes up and goes, "Oh, we stand with Ukraine.
Hey,
What
sucker."
Trump did was absolutely ridiculous.
If
We're
we're
going
going to be
send
people's
Ukraine another
security,
$1.5
they need to
billion
pay.
dollars."
They need to pay us. Just like you pay a
Fuck.
security firm, they need to pay us.
Things are getting weird and scary, like in regards to militaries moving around the world. What's actually happening? China not only owning massive parts of Australia and obviously having this massive monopoly over basically what Australia's trading right now, but like you think about that map that Dr. Phil showed Trump of
like scorching flames in the chat says we need to be like the mafia. Like you need to pay that protection toll.
Man,
We got a debt to pay down, so
I'll pay whatever it takes
Dude,
to come over
this
there. And
motherfucker
just be
Zelensky, he's like an OnlyFans model, man. We're sitting here just throwing money at him for what? Like him?
no, I agree.
And isn't a lot of the money
Because
unaccounted for?
Well,
like they can't track.
So we've given them
it?
about $70 billion to keep their government afloat. Like that's how they're making paying people. So a lot of that money probably is up and vanished.
Well, they're saying, I mean, didn't some Ukraine officials say 70% of the money never reached Ukraine?
Well, a lot of that money that we gave is like through drawdown authority. So like we've given them the value of $60 billion of like old military gear. So like
what was it where I heard that you guys had pledged $350 billion, but they'd only received like 180 billion of it or something? Is that no?
I forgot the top of my head. I mean, there's a lot of funny business. A lot like the DOD did an audit and the inspector general's like, hey, a lot of this stuff we give them is just like on a paper receipt when we issue it out to the Ukrainian army. So it's like, we don't actually know where it's all going. So yeah, there's a lot of problems.
But our munitions are definitely being depleted.
Oh yeah, they are.
We're sending off a ton of our reserve stuff.
This is what Tom was doing. This was what Tom was doing while we were talking about
video games.
I wish I was that then.
Back to the kitchen, buddy.
It's a sandwich.
Is that McCracken?
I believe
Is that McCracken? McCracken's all over those AI memes. I love it. Yep,
Yeah.
it is him. I knew it. Real quick before we get into this, Cal for Canadian 20 says, I hear Miss Piggy and Kermit on camera in a movie set once.
I've heard
You
that
did,
too.
Totally.
They for sure did. Kermit likes them thick.
He does.
Daniel Davis for 20 says, Mickey York and Carrie Otis really did it in Wild Orchard. Alec Baldwin and Kim Basinger really did it in The Getaway. And Shia LaBeouf was asked about his scene in Nymphomania. He walked out Tom Cruise in Risky Business.
I'll give you all of those except Tom Cruise in Risky Business. He did not Rebecca De Mornay on that train. In front of the crew, it didn't happen. You will not find any footage of Tom Cruise, a girl, an actress on any.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
It's not going to happen.
Maybe not on set, but I bet you they did it off camera.
Oh, sure.
See, but we're not talking about off camera. They're off camera.
No.
But we're talking about on camera, on screen, in front of a crew and a guy with a boom mic.
Make sure you get that sound.
I don't think Tom Cruise would be confident enough to do it. You know, he's a little feller.
He's short, yeah.
You know, he ain't got much going on.
I mean, you guys
you never know. He could be a tripod.
He's good.
He's a little feller. How tall is he?
He's like 5'7" or something.
He's really short.
Like 5'5".
5'6".
Yeah.
Short.
He's because I've heard stories that they have to build like walkways because he likes to look taller than people. So they have to like build a walkway.
The Jack Reacher movies, they had to do it because Jack Reacher's meant to look like Alan Richardson, like huge. So they had to do a lot to make him look normal sized.
Some people are saying 5'7". He's shorter than that.
No, he's not
shorter than that.
That means he was me. I thought he was shorter than that.
1.7 meters. What's that in feet? He's
There's actually a rule that you can't run next to him.
He's 5'7".
I've heard that.
That reminds me of when Patrick Swayze came through a hotel lobby that I was in with his entourage. I was shocked at how small he was.
Well, most actors are. That's the thing you'll notice first and foremost. They have really tiny bodies and huge heads.
Yeah.
In fact, it's reported as 5'7" 3/4. It's like they had to put
Bullshit.
the 3/4 in there. No, it's in there.
That's all. That's all Tom Cruise pitching a fit until somebody changed it.
So they're saying he's a hair under 5'8".
That's probably why he can do
5'7"
the stunts.
3/4.
He's small and he's light. Makes sense.
Well, it's even like Sylvester Stallone ain't that tall.
No, he's not. Stallone is a very short man.
Yeah.
But Tom Cruise does his stunts, right? Like that scene where he's strapped to the plane and the plane's taken off.
No, he
That
does
was-
do that.
He doesn't weigh much, so the plane can carry him no problem.
That's freaking ballsy.
Oh, man.
I will give that to him. Like, he is ballsy with the stunt stuff. I would never. That shit, like, he strapped himself to that plane and taking off and landing. I would never do that shit.
I need
He's
to
like our John Wayne, basically. Yeah.
What about when he
mean,
jumped across the 2 buildings and he broke his ankle and
Yeah, he's
finished
done
the
some
shot?
wild shit.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll give him that. But
Yeah.
and I generally like a lot of his movies, but I just like picking on him a little. It's okay.
Just quickly,
He's
I
a
wanted to
Hollywood
s-
star. He'll be all right.
I wanted to see if Tom would play this video game.
Yes, because you're in it, and it's called something ninja, and that's cool.
The ostriches, that's what I've got to kill, right?
If there's any karate or ninja in it, do you get
Emus.
power-ups by drinking Fosters and eating bloomin' onions?
Yeah, probably. I get health back by eating blooming onions.
I
and
met
get power ups from
Tom. I
drinking
met
Fosters.
Kevin Eastman last week.
There's a
Yeah, you were
VH
telling me
supercar
that.
level.
That was really cool. He's a
Let's
nice
do
guy.
it. Let's use Grok and make a game.
Yeah, that shit's crazy. That thing. Like, I've seen some of the games people have been making with them. I think that's really cool. All right, let's start rolling through this.
Get back to the bum getting tossed out of the White House.
Yeah.
People, I like that Trump don't take no shit, man. I love that he doesn't take shit.
What's your message for them?
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" That doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world.
What's
Damn
wrong with
right.
that?
That's how it should be.
Based.
What's wrong
But
with
he
that?
is getting bombarded right now, even by certain right-wing people for this whole thing too. I don't know if you noticed
Yeah.
that. Like, this is kind of stirred up a
Ukraine
hornet's nest.
syndrome.
I'm aligned with the world, and I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred, and I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
He's not wrong though. I mean, I get what he's saying, right? Like, he's like, I gotta
I
get
could be the
these two
biggest
guys to get
asshole.
along. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, Trump is not a pussy. He is not a pussy.
No, but he's also not going to shit on one party and then have to go and try and deal with that person.
Yeah, no,
look,
I
obviously,
agree.
what basically I hear from Trump in this is he doesn't like what's happening on both sides. He doesn't really care about the politics behind it. He wants to figure out a way to end it.
Well, they
And
need
then
to be
you guys-
called out. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, finish.
No, I was just going to say, like, through the negotiations, both parties need to obviously come to terms and come to an agreement that they can at least be satisfied with.
He's
But
a deal
at the same
maker.
time,
Right.
Zelensky's got nothing. It's like Trump says later, he's got no cards, and he doesn't.
On that
Yeah.
note, share my screen here. But yeah, the
That's
tactics.
my
Oh,
line.
I've seen this. I've got
The
this
tactics
meme.
that the Ukraine are using and these guys are using are basically SJW woke tactics. They're like, we're supposed to feel bad for them as like some David being beat on by Goliath. And not only that, we're just supposed to, anyway, go. You didn't let me hit play.
Oh,
Right
gonna
now,
say-
not in a very good position. You've allowed
From the
yourself
very-
to be in a
from
very
the very
bad position,
beginning
and he
of the
happens
war.
to be right about
From the
it.
very beginning of the war.
You're not
Mr.
in a
Brown,
good position. You don't have the cards right now.
Yeah.
Very
Have you
nice.
seen
I actually
them
got one.
playing
I've
Risk?
got one where they're playing Risk.
Yeah,
that one, I've seen that,
That
one.
was
too.
good.
That was
The
pretty
wrist
good.
one.
And it's
Yeah.
I feel bad for Zelensky because when I've had this issue, like when you're arguing with people from Europe on Twitter, and I remember this one time I told a guy like swing and a miss, and I don't know where he's from in Europe, but he's like swing and a hit, you're out, and I'm like, buddy, That's not how that goes. Zelensky's like, "What do you mean I'm not playing cards?" And it's like,
it's a figure of speech, bro.
Yeah.
Taker 610 for 20 says Zelensky was in Canberra to finalize a deal for thousands of highly trained Emu infantry warriors. Zelensky finally saw Jurassic World and was totally convinced animal infantry is the key to beating Russia.
That's not even in the movie, though.
It's in the second one.
We never actually.
That's the one with the raptors that were military.
Yeah, they're basically emus.
Oh, the first.
You're thinking of third movie, actually.
Is it the third one
or whatever? Yeah, like no, they never really got there. That was my point. Is like we keep getting promises of like military dinos, and we keep getting promises of the world taken over by dinos, and it never really happens.
They used them like that in the first Jurassic World, at the end of the first Jurassic World, but they
no, we're not that.
That's what Vince Vaughn was, or not Vince Vaughn. What's his face? The guy who plays Kingpin.
We've already got those little dogs.
Vincent D'Onofrio. That's what he was trying to do. But then his character just kind of gets forgotten about by the end of the film and gets eaten or whatever.
We've got those little drone dogs. Yeah, that's kind of something.
Yeah.
The little cute little drone dogs.
Well, it's just so stupid to think that we could control living animals like that, no matter how genetically altered they are. It's just so hilariously dumb. But anyway, speaking of hilariously
we'll get there.
dumb,
we're going to get there,
to
Tom. I think we should get. I want like monkey armies and gorilla armies. Like
we've done
that's
dolphins.
what Elon's working on.
Planet of the Apes.
Yeah,
the Navy did dolphins for a while.
Yeah,
this is exactly.
Imagine like Rambo gorillas, like with AKs.
Oh, that'd be badass.
Congo.
Yeah.
Congo. You're going into like Resident Evil territory.
Yeah, and they'd go up against Elon's clone army.
This is reality in 100 years.
Yeah.
So look, for 4 years in the United
literal guerrilla warfare.
States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Just
he
pause for a
occupied
second,
it.
Flash. I just want to say, like, to the people that are trying to say that these two, like Trump and JD Vance, escalated the situation, JD Vance was addressing the press there. He was just trying to explain what's going on and what Trump is trying to do. And then Zelensky jumps in with the question, and this is where it starts to get heated because Zelensky's words don't come across as wanting peace. And it's pretty blatantly obvious.
That's the core. He doesn't want a ceasefire. He wants to go in with the United States and bang Russia over the head for a peace deal without a ceasefire. And what Trump wants is a ceasefire first before there's anything like security guarantees or anything else. And what Trump wants is the mineral rights, that there's leverage there. And it's good for Zelensky because it gives the U.S. a vested interest in protecting the territory because of those mineral rights. So you have a complete, and leading up to this, it was 20 minutes of Zelensky torpedoing the peace deal by continuously being antagonistic, insulting Putin, making it very difficult, saying no ceasefire and all this sort of stuff. And it's completely at odds with, I'm sure, what was arranged beforehand for the 2 weeks leading up to this, which is, hey, here's what we're going to do with this meeting. We're going to finalize the deal. We'll invite you to the White House like you want. And Zelensky tried to use that to do an SJW play, exactly what you guys are saying, where he's going to use in front of the media, he's going to pander to emotions, he's going to 180 on the private deal that was negotiated beforehand and try to force Trump and Vance into a position publicly. And he gravely miscalculated. He gave them, what happened here is he gave them options they did not have before. He gave them even more leverage because after this, Trump can legitimately take a hardline stance and pull the aid. And I think he did pull the military aid this morning. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if that got community noted yet.
I know the infrastructure thing that they had planned got canceled?
That was already from earlier in the week, though.
And line by line. But yeah, I mean, if Zelensky hadn't done that, there's no way Trump could publicly do something like that or take a hardline stance and have the public agree with it. But now the public is largely on his side and largely sees Zelensky as messing this up. And so Zelensky just handed him even more cards. And I think, I think peace is important. I think Ukraine really was invaded, and that's wrong. But if you want to negotiate for peace, I don't think Zelensky's the guy to do it. And I think that people are going to see that when he's back in the country now. I think he's going to face intense political pressure and military pressure, especially if they don't have guns and ammunition anymore. And that's going to be a big problem for him. I think he completely messed up politically here.